a little weather update here on YouTube. We do have some scattered snow showers out there. This is bringing at least some minor travel impacts to some of our passes this morning. But like I said, just wanted to pop in, do a quick little update, and we'll get started fully here in just a second. But what I will do in the meantime is show you, well, that's not working like I wanted it to, but what I will show you is current radar across the area, and I'll get this looping while I get everything here working behind the scenes, so I can make sure we have all up or have it all up and running. So like I said, if you can give me about 30 seconds to a minute, I'll have all of this running and we'll go from there. All right, and there we go. We are rolling. So I think with that, let's get started. I know we'll have a few more people that'll work their way in over the next little bit, but in general, we do have a system that's moving through the area. We had another cold front pass through last night, and this is bringing us snow showers down to near valley floors. Though our valleys along US 93 west of the divide, we've been more of that rain snow mix this morning, but up in our mountains, our mountain passes, we have been dealing with some of those issues when it comes to travel, just due to the accumulating snowfall, especially places like Lost Trail and Lolo passes this morning. So if you have any questions as we go throughout this, feel free to ask them in the chat section, and I will answer them as we go throughout this. But as we look at radar, we can see this west to east motion across the area. Our focus of the showers has been along and west of the divide, but also down here closer to places like Lima and West Yellowstone, where we've had a bit more enhancement right there along that portion of the continental divide. But as you can see, these are pretty widely scattered type showers. Not everybody is getting precipitation this morning, but where we are seeing it, some of it has been on the briefly heavy side, and it's not popping in. There we go. That's what I was hoping for. Here are looks at some of our passes across the area: Lolo, McDonald, Lost Trail. The two worst that we're seeing right now, or at least road condition wise, are Lost Trail and Lolo Pass on US 12 and US 93 there on the Montana-Idaho state line. And we're seeing those snow-covered roads for both of those areas. So if you have any travel plans that take you that direction this morning, certainly take it slow. As you can see here on Lolo Pass, the plow crews are out and they're helping to clear the roads. So just from that aspect, we are seeing some improvement, though we still do have more snow falling in the area. It's been off and on. I know just about 5-10 minutes ago, Lost Trail Pass had a decent snow shower there, but as you can kind of see there in the distance, we are getting some blue sky. So hit and miss type of showers right now. And then we look towards McDonald past Georgetown Lake. We had some snow earlier on in the morning, but now that the sun's starting to hit that, it's starting to warm up, and we will likely see our road conditions improve down across that area. Now, I'm going to look at the other screen really quick because I have something else pulled up. Just a couple of other trouble spots. We're seeing some slush on Lookout Pass. Nothing too crazy from the cameras that I was looking at. Primarily wet roads, but a few slushy spots are there. But also, we are seeing some heavier snow up towards the Essex area and Marias Pass. And what I'll do is come back over to this other screen really briefly and give you a sense. That is what it looks like there at Essex as of the last update. So moderate to occasionally heavy snowfall ongoing on US 2 there at Marias, or from Essex back down through the snow slip area and Marias Pass. Let me back out of that. Let's scroll down just a little further, but we're seeing the snow-covered roads there. That camera pretty much just matched that. As for West Glacier, this is looking at the entrance to Glacier National Park. It is all just rain right now, or at least just wet roads. Same thing goes a little bit further down into the Hungry Horse area, a little bit further down US 2. So it isn't until you get to slightly higher elevations that you start running into some of those issues with travel. Let's take it down into southwest Montana. Here is Elk Park area on I-15. Overall, pretty good conditions on Interstate 15 itself, though the frontage road, a few slick spots are there. Here's a better look of Georgetown Lake. The other screen was just a tad small, but there's what those road conditions look like right now. Some patchy areas right there, right around the lake, but overall not as bad as it could be, and probably not as bad as what we will see at some point later on this season. Here's a look from Big Sky, where we are seeing that snow right now. Overall, the roads do seem to be faring okay, though it is starting to accumulate just a little bit. But I think this is going to be the trend. A lot of it is, it's there, it's manageable. Just take it slow this morning as you're going out and about. So let's go to Reynolds Pass. This is on Montana Highway 87. Let's try and get that back into focus real quick. You can tell it's struggling, so. But there is a look at the road conditions there at Reynolds Pass. Down there, right on the Montana-Idaho state line west of West Yellowstone. And that's probably what you're looking at for parts of Highway 287 and 191 this morning. So, in general, we're going to continue to see these types of conditions for at least the next little bit, though in general, we should be seeing a diminishing trend on these showers as we go later on into the morning. So, as I spin this back around, show you the current advisories and warnings. We have the winter storm warning down into Yellowstone National Park. And then the winter weather advisories for our part of the region. We have these down here towards Bozeman, the Gallatin and Madison County Mountains and Centennial Mountains. That's actually an update, so let me make sure this is the correct information. It was supposed to be, it is supposed to expire at 10 a.m., but like I said, this is an update, as this whole entire area down here was under a winter weather advisory as well, and I just want to make sure they haven't just extended it to noon. No, this is still in effect until 10 a.m. this morning. So this batch, Bozeman down to Big Sky, West Yellowstone, that is going to be allowed to expire at 10 a.m., and these west of the divide, including the Lolo Pass, Lost Trail Pass, areas over into the Potomac-Seeley Lake region, and then into the West Glacier, Kootenai, Cabinet, and Lower Clark Fork regions. Those will continue through noon this, I almost said noon this morning, through noon today, where all of these areas we could pick up another couple of inches of accumulation if you get underneath one of those showers. Again, areas over, say, 4,000, 4,500 feet are most likely to see those accumulations. But in general, we'll see quieter conditions as we head into this afternoon. A few spotty showers can't be ruled out, but overall, if you're ready for the snow to move on out, you'll at least like the forecast for the next, say, 24 hours or so, 24 to 36 hours. High pressure is going to be building back in, and that's going to keep us quiet through at least Tuesday evening. Some places it may be Wednesday morning. We will see another storm system, a fast-moving one, slide into the region for Wednesday. One note on that one, this will likely not impact southwest Montana. This will be more of a northwest and north central Montana clipper system. We could see some of those showers into west central Montana, but most forecast models keep places like Missoula and Hamilton dry for Wednesday. And we'll see that here on Future Tracker in a minute. So primarily places like Kalispell, Polson, Libby, West Glacier, where we see impact from this Wednesday storm system. That clears out on Thursday, so that high pressure ridge that was here on Tuesday builds right back in for Thursday and the first part of Friday for Halloween itself. But Halloween night, we'll start to see that next storm system really take shape, and this one looks to be a bit bigger. It's got more moisture to work with, and we could see another similar system to what we saw this past weekend with the widespread shower activity with a cold front, that type of thing. So we'll look at all of these in detail here momentarily. So going into Future Tracker, it's done a good job picking up on the relatively scattered nature of the activity with the focus of it up here into the northwest and southwest Montana. And that's, I think, is really locked onto that pretty well, more isolated in nature across the remainder of the area. But watch the trend as we go into the afternoon. The overall coverage of these showers begins to diminish. We're still looking at some afternoon snowfall for, say, the Mission Mountains, the Swan Range up towards Glacier National Park and along the Divide, and maybe a few of these towards the Purcell, Cabinet, and Salish Mountains up in northwest Montana. But by this evening, a few showers lingering in the higher elevations through the Bitterroot Mountains, but you notice that trend. Southwest Montana, we're looking at clearing skies this evening. Maybe a few of these showers tonight try and sneak into places like Sula, Connor, maybe even a few of these into the Bitterroot and Missoula valleys. That's a bit of a change. This is a new model run that's just coming in, so it's a little bit of a change. The moisture's sticking around just a hair longer in this model run as compared to ones earlier on this morning, but the trend is still going to be the same. By the time we get into Tuesday morning, high pressure is building, and we're going to be looking at mostly clear skies to start Tuesday, and we could be starting on a pretty chilly note. Temperatures for Tuesday morning, we're likely looking at teens and 20s for most of the region. Parts of places like West Yellowstone, maybe even towards Wisdom, we could see those temperatures down into the single digits tomorrow morning. So certainly bundle up, have that jacket as you're heading out to work and school on Tuesday, because it is going to be a chilly one for sure. Now, let me back this up, because I had something I wanted to show about the second storm coming in for Wednesday, and I didn't pull the correct future tracker that had that information. So let me get this right here. Let me jump back just to make sure I haven't missed anything. Again, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask those here as we start to get close to the end of this. But continuing on, Tuesday is going to be very quiet. High pressure is in control. We're going to likely see lots of sunshine. By Tuesday evening, clouds will start to filter back into northwest and west central Montana as that next storm system approaches. And you can see it starting to take shape up here into parts of British Columbia, Washington State, and then eventually northern Idaho. We could see a few showers start to roll in as early as, say, 4 to 5 o'clock on Wednesday morning. Should be primarily valley rain and mountain snow. Snow levels generally that 5,000 foot range as it looks like right now. And you can see this comes through places like Kalispell, Polson, Thompson Falls, likely looking at least the chance for some shower activity. And this model brings it a little bit further south into places like Missoula and Hamilton, but we may be getting a little bit of a dry slot, or not even a dry slot, but more of a downslope flow off of the mountains, and that's going to help to evaporate some of that moisture. So we may not see a whole lot of this make it down into the valleys, but for our mountains, that will be our focus for those showers. And I think, again, the Whitefish Range, the Mission Mountains, the Swan Ranges, that's going to be at least the big winners as it looks like right now. Could see a little bit of moisture into the Bitterroot Mountains as well. This will be moving through on Wednesday afternoon, but by Wednesday evening, as quickly as that storm system arrives, it's pushing out and we're starting to dry out as high pressure strengthens once again. And that'll be in place through Thursday and the first half of Friday. And this is going to be looking at, this is about 7 o'clock and about 9 o'clock. And we're starting to see that moisture creep into far northwestern Montana. So places like Libby, Troy, again, Trout Creek, Knox, and Thompson Falls. We could see a little bit of rainfall as it stands right now. And I can't even rule out some of that trying to work its way into Eureka, down into the Flathead Valley and Kalispell. So stay tuned to the forecast for Halloween night, especially if you've got any kids doing some trick-or-treating on Friday night. There is the chance for some showers, but overall, I think most of the region stays dry until late Friday night and into Saturday morning. We see this first wave, primarily Interstate 90 and north, bringing light to some moderate rainfall. Snow level's pretty high at this point, too. This is going to be a relatively mild system coming in from the Pacific. Get a little bit of a break into Saturday morning, but watch the big plume of moisture moving in. That's going to arrive by Saturday afternoon and evening, likely overspreading most of the region, and even getting into southwest Montana as well, if I can get this to move with me. Though the coverage from Butte back down to Bozeman is a little bit less, I still think we'll have a chance of some showers, probably more in that 20 to 40% range in southwest Montana as compared to, say, 50 to 80% in northwest and west central Montana for another batch of rain. As this looks like this will be starting to move out as we get into Monday, still some question marks about how long this plume of moisture sticks around. But in general, that is the active weather really is for today, and diminishing on that level for today. Then we'll see the next one moving in for Wednesday for northwest Montana and maybe even west central portions of the state. And then late Friday night, Saturday into Sunday is going to be round number 3 for this week. So those are our main focuses for active weather the next few days. And you'll notice in our temperatures, we'll see them go up a little bit as we head into Wednesday, drop down into Thursday behind that weak system that moves through. Temperatures warm back up into Friday and Saturday in Bozeman. We could be about 15 degrees above average with the high temperature right at about 60. I think most of the rest of the area will be in the 50s for Friday. But then those temperatures start to cool back down into the early parts of next week, even as with the most recent models, that storm system starts to pull out for early next week. So in general, we're going to be pretty close to average. 50s are going to be common across the region for the rest of this work week outside of Tuesday, but that continues into the weekend. But with that moisture increasing, here's the other kicker with this. So Saturday is going to be the day we see likely the most precipitation, but with that temperature around 60 degrees, it gives you kind of a sense of how mild that next storm system will likely be as things hold right now. So snow levels at that point, we may be talking anywhere from about 5,000 to 7,000 feet initially. Behind a little cold front, we'll see those start to drop back down, but we'll probably not see quite as much cold air as compared to the storm system that passed through this weekend that we're kind of on the backside of right now. So that is where I have that, but I have one more thing that I want to talk about, and it's well out of our region, but it is a very important and could be a very impactful weather event, and that's going to be Hurricane Melissa down in the Caribbean. It has rapidly intensified over the last 48 hours from a tropical storm when it was centered roughly over in here. It hasn't moved very much, but in 48 hours it has gone from a tropical storm to a Category 5 monster of a hurricane just south of Jamaica. And unfortunately, you might think with this westward motion, Jamaica is just going to get a glancing blow from it. A storm system, and I'll back this up. You can see this trough digging into the Gulf of Mexico right here. That is going to drag the steering flow for this storm system and essentially pick it up. So instead of it continuing its track off to the west, it's going to get picked up today and start lifting north and probably spin right back across the island of Jamaica. And as we look at the current conditions with this, or at least the current stats with this storm, it is, again, a Category 5 storm. The pressure is down to 908 millibars, and that may, that may seem like a weird measurement to you, but essentially the lower the pressure is, the stronger these low pressure systems are. So the lower pressure, the stronger the system. With that pressure at 908 millibars, it puts it into the top 10 strongest Atlantic Basin hurricanes on record. You don't see many hurricanes get down to this intensity with the pressure, and it's still strengthening as it looks like right now. It may have leveled off, but the structure of this system is still capable of getting even stronger. So with that those millibars down at 908 with the pressure, the wind speeds 165 miles per hour, sustained winds in the eye wall. Up at flight level with the hurricane hunters, there have been winds over 170 miles per hour. And you could be even talking gusts in this in that 175 to 190 mile per hour range. And as you can see with the track, this is just going to lift north. So this is looking into tomorrow morning about this time, maybe a little bit earlier into the morning, but forecasting a Category 5 landfall on the western, kind of southwest side of Jamaica. And at least in recorded history, I think the strongest landfalling system in Jamaica has been a Category 3, or at least in the last, like, say, 50 years. I don't know the specifics on that, but if this does come through and hit Jamaica as a Category 5 or even a Category 4, honestly, it could be one of the most significant impacts that the island has ever seen from a tropical system like this. And they've already been dealing with a ton of rain because of the slow movement of the storm system, which right now is at 3 miles per hour. It is just drifting. You can practically walk faster than Hurricane Melissa is moving through the Caribbean. So it could be a pretty rough, say, 36 to 48 hours for the island of Jamaica. And then continuing on, I'll even move that further up into the eastern parts of Cuba, into the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos Islands. Could all see significant impacts, but the main focus and really, the thoughts and prayers are going to Jamaica, because this could be very significant. Hopefully everybody has made the preparations that they needed to for this. Because, yeah, this one could be a very nasty one. I wished I could sugarcoat it and be like, no, they're just going to get a glancing blow. There's not going to be. You may have heard that. That was a very loud truck outside the studio. Getting back my train of thought, but I wished I could sugarcoat it and say this is just going to be a glancing blow. There's going to be some gusty winds, but you're not going to get the core of this storm. Right now, barring a little bit of a miracle, everything's pointing towards a direct hit on the island by a very significant hurricane, and like I was mentioning, one of the top 10 strongest in Atlantic Basin history. So, some impressive nature going on. Unfortunately, in this case, it's not one we can sit and ooh and ah over the meteorological prowess of this system, because it is going to be impacting people over the next 48 hours, and then continuing on, like I said, into Cuba, the Bahamas, and the Turks and Caicos. So I'm going to just go back to the satellite loop and just give you a sense. I mean, you've got super cold cloud tops with this. That's what all these brighter colors are. And then you have that eye where you see those dark colors inside it. It is very dry, and that essentially is just promoting the sinking motion, or it's indicating the sinking motion down into that eye. It essentially works like a sink drain, and you have all of this filtering down, well, actually, it's more of that it's rising. Sorry, it's rising up and then spreading outwards, but still, it's a big funnel, and it is just cranking there south of Jamaica. So I've rambled on enough about the hurricane, but like I said, thoughts and prayers are going to those in Jamaica who are going to be dealing with this over the next little bit, because if it comes through as it could, they're going to be needing help for a fair amount of time based on everything that's showing right now. So getting back into, again, sort of a last call if you got any questions or comments. Key takeaways for our region. Scattered snow showers continue through this morning, though in general we're going to see a diminishing trend with that. Winter weather advisories for southwest Montana remain until 10 a.m. For northwest and west central Montana, those continue through noon. As we get into the afternoon, though, our road conditions over our passes, especially places like Lookout, Lolo, Marias passes, will start to improve as well, with temperatures climbing back into the upper 30s and 40s. High pressure builds in for Tuesday. We've got a quick system for northwest Montana on Wednesday. High pressure is back on Thursday, and then late Halloween night, Friday, into this weekend, could see a very similar system to what we saw this past weekend move into the area with more widespread showers, especially west of the Divide. that could keep us pretty soggy again for the weekend. It feels like that's been the pattern with these storms, is about every weekend we've had, at least at some point during the weekend, rain and snow across the region. So that'll be something we keep a close eye on as we move throughout this week. And I think with that, I will wrap it up. If you have any photos or videos of the snow this morning, feel free to share those with us at nbcmontana.com/chime in. And then, of course, tune in to our live broadcast tonight at 5, 6, and 10 for the latest news and weather updates. And then, of course, tomorrow morning, I've been in this morning to cover for Chief Meteorologist Brooke Foster. She will be back for tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow morning, NBC Montana Today with Jason Hurst and Chief Meteorologist Brooke Foster. So have a great rest of your Monday and a safe day, and I'll see you all on the next one. With NBC Montana, I'm meteorologist Mitchell Coombs.